Hello. Today we're going to be learning about how to create a tutorial in the Turtle Universe application. This is a brief introduction to the Visual Tutorial Editor. There will be more videos breaking down how to implement specific features, so be sure to check those out after. First and foremost, we will need to open up a web browser and type in the link to the Visual Tutorial Editor. Once you do that, you should be able to see a blank page, all except for the little icons on top. Press the Load button. There are two options here. The first is going to open up a sample, which is really useful to work off of when you need to create a tutorial from scratch. The second is going to open up your file system and allow you to load an existing tutorial that you want to edit. For this video, I will be using the tutorial for the sunflower model to demonstrate how to create a tutorial. This should take about 10 seconds to load because the file is quite large. In the meanwhile, we will discuss what is a section. Sections make up the structure or layout of the tutorial and basically are like a command center. They are run sequentially, so when the tutorial forward command is run, it will move on to the next section. To change the order of the sections, you can press the up and down arrows to move them wherever you like. The button over here is used to specify the section that is first displayed when the tutorial is loaded. Typically, this is the first section. However, when you are testing the tutorial, you can select different sections to begin so that you don't have to go through all the different sections you don't need to. Going back to sections, there are 4 key things that you will need to know to create a section. First, the section needs a name that is solely for the designer to use. This name would not be displayed to the user. The next thing is the filter. The filter is a block of conditions that will be evaluated to determine whether the initializer should be run. In computer science, it is analogous to an if statement where if the condition is true, then the body of code within is run. The initializer is a body of commands that is run if the filter evaluates true or if there is nothing written in the filter. A common command that will be used here is tutorial show dialog, quotations, the name of the tutorial, false. This will show a dialog named whatever is in the quotations. Lastly, the finalizer is the body of commands run when the section is exited. For example, a common command to run is tutorial hide dialog, name of tutorial, in quotations. We will talk about handlers in another video where I demonstrate how to implement triggers, but for now we will continue on to dialogues. You will need to have a name, like the section name, for each dialog, which is also not displayed to users. There are 4 types of dialogues. I will not be discussing question type dialogues because they are not used as much. The first type is message. Messages are displayed without interrupting the workspace, allowing users to continue to interact with the model. This is an example of a message. Observe how the user is able to interact with the model while being able to see this message. The second type is prompt. Prompts are used when requiring users to complete a task within the Spotlight. The user is unable to interact with the model, with the exception of the part that you specify. In this case, it is the Widgets panel. The third type is dialogues. Dialogues are essentially the same as messages, except that the workspace is paused and users cannot interact with the model. This is an example of a dialogue. Observe how the workspace is paused and users cannot interact with this model. Moving on, the title of a dialogue is a text that is displayed to the user in a larger font and in blue color. The content is the text that you want users to read and is by default black. Again, we would discuss handlers in another video where we learn about prompts or user tasks. I will also discuss buttons in another video because I want to keep the video specific to the topics they cover. The last thing about dialogues is the dismiss behavior. This is what the dialogue does when it's dismissed or when the user tries to exit from the tutorial. Most of the time, you will want to choose minimize because this allows the user to re-enter the tutorial where they left off. For the other options, hide closes the entire tutorial. None continues to leave the dialogue on the user's screen. And back goes to the previous section. That is it for the introductory video. I will be covering how to implement specific features in other videos, so please take a look at those if you want.